This video is for you if you don't know what to do next. Maybe you're struggling with self-doubt in business, around life, and you're trying to find like that perfect formula to like, oh, this is the next move I should be doing. I'm going to walk you through my framework for this. I feel this all the time. In the last 2 years, they've been the best I've ever experienced in business. I've made a lot of money, been able to deepen my level of joy and fun and peace. They have also unequivocally been the scariest times of my life. I have been in more uncomfortable situations filled with more self-doubt than ever before. And if you're feeling that, I want you to know you're not alone. That's not like a sign that you are doing something wrong. I'm just going to walk you through how I think about this. I got a message yesterday from an ex-client, and they were basically laying out like, I know that what I'm doing right now in business isn't working, isn't what I want to be doing. And I feel like I know what the next move is, but how do you know when you know that this is the right move? And it's a good question. And it's a hard question because, of course, there's no one right answer. If there was one right answer, we would all be like everything. Like there's a great quote by Derek Sivers. He says, like, if information was all we needed, we'll all be billionaires with six-pack abs. Like if there was one thing that was the thing that would work for everyone so they'd always know the right next step that was going to be the most profitable or bring them the most peace or the most joy or whatever, like we would all be sorted. The reality is it's more convoluted. It's more challenging than this. But what I want you to understand is that if you're facing this, you're not alone, and you have to get good at navigating this, because in order to create a business that aligns with who you are, that you're excited about, that really changes the world, in order to create a life that you feel passionate about, that you're obsessed with, that you love, it's going to require you facing so much uncertainty, so much fear, so much self-doubt. And so I remember really vividly 2 years ago, in the early 2023, I had this team, and I'd gone from a team of 13 down to a team of 4, and the business still didn't feel right. It felt uncomfortable. I felt like it was basically built from a previous version of myself, and I knew I was being called to evolve, and I knew I was being called to create a business model that reflect all of the growth that I had experienced and that I was experiencing. But I didn't know if anything I was thinking was going to work. I had conviction. I did not have certainty. And so I went about letting go basically the remaining team that I had. And I went down to a part-time virtual assistant, going from a team of 13 down to a part-time virtual assistant in 12 months. And then I told every client, hey, the program that I sold you into, it doesn't exist anymore. So if you want to leave, totally cool. And obviously sorting refunds and things like that, doing everything right by people. But it's basically like, going forward, this is what I'm going to do. And at that point, I had conviction in what I didn't want, but I didn't fully know what I actually wanted. I just knew that this was the right next step for me. And when you fast forward the last 2 years, it's like my team is slightly bigger, but like last year I was able to make a tremendous amount of money, create a business and a life that is far from perfect, I don't have anything, really everything sorted, I guess I'm trying to say. But it has been the best path that I've ever experienced in my life. And one of the things that I've realized in this uncomfortable process of change and evolution, when you are being challenged to go from the familiar into the unfamiliar, from the certain into the uncertain, is it requires a tremendous amount of courage. Now, this might be easy to overlook, but I really want you to think about this. Human beings are designed to live in courage. There is this book called Power versus Force, and in it, this guy called David Hawkins talks through the levels of consciousness. And it might be a bit woo-woo for some of you, but it has been incredibly helpful for me. And it's basically this idea that we all live from certain states of emotions. And so right at the bottom, you've got guilt and shame and fear and apathy. And then you're at the very top, we have all of the ascended masters, the Jesus, the Krishna, the Buddha, and it's like peace, love, joy. It's like you're at the opposite end of the human emotional spectrum. But what he says in this book is that the most important line emotionally to cross for any human is the line of courage. And one of the things you have to get really comfortable with is the discomfort of moving from the known place of familiarity into the unknown future. So let's just talk through this so it's not so philosophical. Let's talk about this in real ways. When you went through a course or a coaching program, or you binged the YouTube videos, you got educated on a certain way of doing business. And that certain way came with an immense amount of confidence because someone was telling you this is the way, don't deviate from it. It's low ticket, it's high ticket, it's sales calls, it's webinars, whatever it is. And there is a point where that might have worked for you, but then you get to this level in business where you go, do I keep doing what has been working despite it not making me feel good or leaving me with the impact that I want or helping me make the money I want? Or do I go and find a new path? And typically the path we look for is the next person to go and tell us exactly what to do. And so what this does is this keeps us in a state of low courage and high codependency. So we are no longer self-led people, autonomous, free. We are now simply looking for other people to give us the instructions, which means we have someone to blame if it doesn't work. And one of the most challenging life lessons is that we are supposed to follow our intuition, follow our instincts, that there is some kind of forces at play outside of our being that are leading us into a life and a business and an impact and a role in humanity to really serve people at the highest level, to achieve all our deepest desires, to live in alignment with our values. But that is the scariest place to be, because you are now leaving the place of, oh, here's the blueprint, here is the playbook, and you're having to tap into a version of yourself you've never been before. Now, this all sounds very esoteric, but like I'm telling you right now, the most peaceful, profitable, impactful version of you is on the other side of you listening to your intuition and listening to your instincts and then having the courage to move in that direction. It's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. You're going to feel self-doubt. You're going to feel like an imposter. Those aren't signs you're on the wrong path. It is natural to feel like an imposter if you've never done something before, because how could you feel confident? You've never been here. You've never done this. You've never played at this level. You've never thought at this level. You've never looked at life this way. You've never tried this offer. You've never worked with this niche, whatever it might be. And so the advice that I gave this person was really simple, and this is the advice I'd give you here today, is conviction and certainty are not the same things. If you feel certain about every move you're making in business and in life, you are thinking too small. You are playing in the safe space of, I'm just doing what I've been told, I'm just following the rule book, I'm following the playbook. But the life that you are created to live is going to require immense amount of uncertainty. But the way that you know that this is the kind of uncertainty you want to move towards is you have a high level of conviction about it. This doesn't mean it's always going to work out. But what it means is the more you act from a place of conviction based on listening to your intuition, developing instincts, really getting quiet and figuring out what moves am I trying to make, what direction am I trying to go in, the more likelihood you have to find that most aligned, most profitable version of you. I want you to get rid of this idea that this is supposed to be easy, that this is supposed to be like this whole peaceful, loving, like, oh my gosh, I'm going to create the best business and impact people and make money, and I'm just going to always know what I need to do. No, it's going to be terrifying. You're going to be scared. You're going to be riddled with self-doubt. But in that, you're going to find the courage to unlock that new version of you, that better version of business. And in the last 2 years, two things have happened. I have lived my scariest version of life. We have ended up in countries that, we're like, why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing here? We've been homeless to a degree, not literally homeless, but been in countries where we're living out of Airbnbs and, have a home in Bali, but we don't want to live there and we don't know where we want to live and it feels unsettling. I've been in seasons of business where I just genuinely don't know what to do. I don't know the right next move because there's no playbook and no blueprint and no coach I can ask. But in that has been the most joy. And yes, there's been money, but I can't tell you how good it feels to just feel aligned. And if you were trying to move away from a certain pattern of life that hasn't been serving you, what we might affectionately refer to as bro scaling in business, where you're just hustling your face off, where there's a lot of push energy, and you're trying to step into like a more beautiful version of yourself, a more impactful version of business, a more profitable version of business, it's going to be terrifying. And so if you're feeling terrified right now, I'm just telling you, you're not alone. Welcome to the club. But don't let the fear convince you that something is wrong. Don't let the fear convince you that you're in the wrong place or thinking about the wrong things or considering the wrong moves. Understand that all of this journey is going to require an immense amount of courage, because you're going from what you've known to what is unknown, from what is familiar to what is unfamiliar. And it's in that place that the next version of you is unlocked. It's on the other side of courage. It's on the other side of taking the risk. And my litmus test, honestly, for life is what degree of courage is my current life requiring of me? And whenever the answer is no courage, I know I'm doing the wrong stuff. I'm not saying you got to live in a constant state of fear and self-doubt. What I'm saying is if you are constantly waiting for everything to be clear and certain and familiar, and you've got the full assurance of everything behind you. You're waiting too long. Life is meant to be lived on that edge. Like, you listen to your intuition, you don't know if it's going to work out. You listen to your instincts, you're going to make that move, it's not guaranteed to work. That is where the sweet spot is. And so if you're here today and you're listening to this and you're trying to figure out, like, do I launch the thing? Do I move in this direction? What if it doesn't work? I'm just telling you, like, that is exactly how you should be feeling, right? That is how all of us who are creating anything worthwhile are feeling. The only reframe I have for you is, like, most of us constantly ask ourselves the questions, what if it doesn't work out? And the reframe I'm offering for you today is, like, why don't you just ask yourself, what if it does work out? Like, what if you choose to see this through the lens of courage, that the best version of you could be on the other side of this risky move. The best version of business could be on this other side of uncertainty and fear and self-doubt. There's no formula for this, guys. Don't believe that there is a formula for life. Don't believe that there is like a system and a blueprint for business that is going to avoid all the pain and only give you pleasure, that's going to give you all the certainty and never the discomfort. It is hard to do what we do. And so if you're feeling that difficulty today, you're not alone. I'm sending you love. Tap into your intuition. Develop your instincts, and realize that all of this is going to require an immense amount of courage. Sending you love.